They thought the moon was silent, cold, lifeless, just a barren satellite circling Earth. But one night, a voice broke the silence, a whisper that carried not just words, but memories older than humanity itself. And in those whispers, the moon spoke our names. Dr. Aiden Kael had always been a man of obsessions. While others in the lunar listening program rotated shifts, chasing faint cosmic static, he rarely left his post. His colleagues joked that he was married to the antenna arrays, that he had given up on Earth's chaos and chosen instead to listen to the universe. But Aiden wasn't listening for signals from aliens. He was listening for meaning. He had lost his wife, Mara, 5 years earlier to a disease Earth's medicine still couldn't cure. In the aftermath, silence had been his refuge. Silence and the moon, hanging constant above him, as though it were the only companion left that never left his side. So, when the signal came, he recognized it before anyone else. It wasn't the usual static, nor the odd pulse of a dying star. It was rhythm, intonation, almost language. The first phrase, when processed through the lab's decoders, shattered him. It whispered, "Aiden Kael." He froze. He thought it was some glitch, a prank, or the ghost of Mara echoing in his mind. But then came another phrase, clearer, almost mournful. "We remember you." The lunar listening program erupted into chaos. Within hours, the facility became a fortress of secrecy. Governments demanded explanations. Scientists from Earth and Mars scrambled for access to the raw data. What unsettled everyone wasn't just the voice itself. It was the fact that the signal originated not from the far reaches of the galaxy, but from beneath the moon's surface. Aiden led the first decryption team. The signal grew, weaving fragments of language, mathematics, and strange harmonic tones that seemed designed to resonate with human neurochemistry. It was like the moon wasn't just transmitting, it was remembering. And the memories it spoke of were not alien. They were ours. At first, the messages recalled simple things. Ancient rivers that once ran across Earth, forests long turned to desert, constellations as they appeared 100,000 years ago. But soon, the voice began to recall individuals, names of people long gone, forgotten tribes, lovers who died in obscurity, soldiers who fell unmarked on battlefields, no history book preserved. The moon spoke them all, one by one. And then it began whispering names of the living. People turned on their feeds to hear their own names spoken in the cold, resonant tone of the moon. It wasn't loud, but the intimacy was terrifying. Entire cities fell silent when broadcasts reached them. Children cried when their grandmother's names echoed in languages no one had used in centuries. Theologians called it the second Genesis. Governments called it a security crisis. Corporations called it a market opportunity. But to Aiden, it was something else entirely. One night when the others had left, he stayed listening. The voice spoke again, this time softer, almost compassionate. "Aiden Kael, you are not alone. Mara waits." He broke down. He hadn't spoken her name aloud in years. Was the moon lying? Or had it stored fragments of every human, every heartbeat, every memory, waiting for this moment to return them? The weeks that followed nearly tore humanity apart. Some demanded to excavate the moon, convinced there was an ancient machine buried deep within, perhaps built by a forgotten alien race to catalog human existence. Others declared it a divine act, proof that consciousness itself was eternal. Riots broke out as people fought to hear their own names spoken, desperate for recognition from the voice of eternity. Aiden was summoned to a global council, a rare assembly broadcast across every human colony. Leaders demanded answers. Is this an alien archive? A threat? A weapon? But Aiden, exhausted and trembling, answered differently. "No, it's us. It has always been us. The moon is not speaking. It's remembering. It remembers the dust of every footstep, the ashes of every fire, the echoes of every word we thought lost. The moon is our witness, and now it is calling us to remember too. Soon after, expeditions drilled deep beneath the lunar crust. What they found wasn't alien machinery nor a godly temple. It was crystallized lattice, a natural formation that somehow recorded vibrations across millions of years. The moon, by some miracle of physics, had been listening all along, storing the imprints of voices, breaths, even heartbeats, etched into its silent body. Humanity had built archives, data centers, and libraries, but the moon itself was the ultimate archive of life. The final message came weeks later, just before the signal faded forever. This time it was not a whisper, it was a chorus. Billions of names, all at once, rising together, ancient and modern, the forgotten and the powerful, the voice of humanity carried back to itself. And within the roar, Aiden heard Mara again. Not just her name, but her laugh, soft, fragile, but unmistakably hers. He fell to his knees. Tears streamed down his face as he whispered to the moon, "I remember you too." The voice ended. The moon fell silent once more. But Earth was not the same. Borders mattered less. Faiths found common ground. People began to document their lives not for wealth or legacy, but in the hope that the moon, our eternal witness, might carry their names long after they were gone. And Aiden, though still alone in his quarters, no longer felt abandoned, because now he knew, in the silence of the moon, no life was ever forgotten. If the moon itself could remember us, every voice, every fleeting moment, then maybe we are not as small as we believe. Maybe we are the story the universe refuses to forget.